personalized account, retail account. He says, no, I have SMEs as my customers. I have MSMEs as my customers. No, who should that should that be belonging to SBI or Karnataka Bank or any other bank, or they should now belong to a completely new technology company that is unseen. Of course, it's a technology company, and that is so. We need to really see there is an element of competition, my dear bankers sitting in front of me, which is from the new generation enterprises and startup that is coming in. So that is one aspect of it. The instant element of communication, the in the social media, and the requirement of security and surveillance that is required to be done on within your system is another challenge that you will be facing. Now, the third element is all of us know that we have a wonderful CRM system, customer relationship management technology system, that really makes you talk to your customer, that really understand your customer. You have psychometric profile of your customer being done in your CRM system. You know who is big, who is small, who is retail, who is not. All those inputs while it is available to you. Now, can we connect this instant messaging system with the CRM of the company? That is the 17 million followers when they communicate with the bank, when they tweet, or when they use the FB, or when they use the Instagram, or when they try to send a message to you to WhatsApp. Now, will your system, the CRM system, which is also part of your core banking solution, okay, able to decipher that, take a decision based on that in an automated manner, is something that we actually need to think about, because sustainability of the future will be dependent upon our ability to manage these instant messaging system, actually seeking instant responses from you, at the same time retaining your banking, retaining your data, retaining survey, keeping protecting your data, etc. That is another thing that is there. So now, the last element, which is I would have supposed to told you in the first, is the legality of the whole thing. Now, how much? Now we have RBI, we have the central bank, we have the Ministry of Finance. Okay, we have the entire system, cabinet, laws are being passed. Now, whether our system accepts social media transactions or accepts social media as a part of the technology that bankers can rely upon. No, things are happening, I know, but at the same time, so we need to actually go into a pakka legal framework for all this to happen. Okay, so these are typically the challenges related to, again, you may think that this is technology challenge, but this is fundamentally communication. In a Instagram or in an FB or in a WhatsApp or in a Twitter, what he sends you is not data alone. He's communicating with you. He's expecting you to instantly revert back to him. Okay. At the same time, maintaining the passwords and maintaining the protecting the data, validating the data, and reverting. And this without a framework of a rule and law, how we will be able to establish? I think future is going to lie in here. Banking in future is going to lie here. In fact, I do not want to take your displeasure by saying this, but let me say this. Okay. Bill Gates sometime back said that banking is needed, banks are not. This, if you really look at it, this is a very crazy statement. He says, banks are not, but okay, of course, what he meant is those big names in the banking system, which is now controlling the whole monetary and economic system of the world. He said that is a problem, whereas banking is an absolute must for all of us. No, but if you derive some insight out of it, we must really understand that what is said is, the banking will now go to these open technologies, these RuPay accounts and these Razor Pay accounts and the thing. So in a way, that is also a competition to you. Your growth, your sustainability can be affected. So just look at it. A communication system which is devised as a social media, how it is impacting upon the very tenets of your sustainability is something that we have to really think. Yeah, I will discuss this later. I get it. Revert back. You can revert.
Indeed, yes, sir. Incidentally, we are on a live stream on Facebook and YouTube as we speak. So this is, in fact, our hybrid panel discussion is a testimony of the phygital world that we live in. The physical in conjunction with the digital. So let's now go into a little greater depth on multi-generational communication, because that's a question I keep getting asked by bankers. Uh, to reiterate, today's workforce, we have four generations working together. Because of the increased life expectancy and career life cycle, generation or baby boomer generation is still active, while the millennials and Gen Y are moving up the corporate ladder. And Gen Z is entering the workforce. Each has its own characteristic on how they communicate. And each has a different comfort level with technology also. So, as leaders, how do we adapt ourselves to reach out and connect across these generations? Yes, SR.
Me? Oh, yeah. You put it to me. I was thinking that Rina is going to answer. Okay, fine. Right. See, I think actually in my
Since it's
home
a
now, I
related
have a
question,
yeah. Thank you. In my home now today, I'm sitting at my home. This is my home office behind me that you see. I have a visitor that is probably my would-be daughter-in-law, who is an American. Okay, my son has actually brought him home from Caltech, California, for a small visit here. So when I was actually talking to you over the phone, she overheard me telling something on this generational communication that we say. So I actually put that question back to saying that, okay, Julia, in your time, how do you actually see now? How do you seamlessly communicate with multi-gen people? Okay, most of the decision makers in your system are people belonging to baby boomer Gen Y category. Most of the data that you actually maybe churning it out may be belonging to all categories. And in times to come, most of the people that you will be communicating will be belonging to will be the millennials or the Gen Z people. Now, how do we get this done? At one end, we need to have real usage of technologies to happen. At the other hand, we must have a framework and we must have a means to do that. Predominantly, I see that people, particularly bankers, etc. Okay, and I'm sure SBI also has one. You have YONO, and Karnataka Bank must have something else, etc. As far as instant response systems are concerned, I think it is important today that you bring the whole, or it is important that all your customers come under this mobile app of yours. Mobility is a key. As when we were talking last also, we were saying you need to take decisions as you keep walking, as you keep driving, as you keep traveling, as you keep moving. Okay, so mobility, and today without the device that you have, the mobile, and you're completely lost. In fact, there's a new phobia that has come into the list of phobias called no more phobia, no mobile phobia. If you don't have the mobile in hand, or if your mobile doesn't have charge, or if your mobile doesn't have the connect with the system, you have a phobia that is called nomophobia. So that is going to be, and some of these companies, in fact, Hewlett Packard calls it this device as the edge. It is the edge through which everything else is connected to. If this is not there, you're not connected. So fundamentally, even SBI, Karnataka Bank, or any other bank that you see, you need to protect you need to retain and grow your customer by holding them, and there is no other method than holding them as a part of your mobile app system. But please understand, you have crores of customers, both SBI or Karnataka Bank or anybody for that matter. Now, how do you get them together? There are corporates, there are MSMEs, there are debtors, there are loanees, there are students, there are common man, there are farmers, there are all sort of people. Now, put them all into a system without complicating the level of communication, maybe by like people call single sign on, single sign off, all those things are there, but without them getting frightened by the system, okay, without them getting intimidated by the system, how easily they can communicate to you and how easily they can do the banking with you is that something that we have to see. So I think fundamental to the future banking will be a mobile app that your bank will have and that connects to, that work with, and that grow with the customer. Now, into which, what are all the technologies that is coming? You may have AI coming, artificial intelligence coming. That is a result of the data science that you do. Your machine learning has to do. You may have not only the YONO, you may have typical software equivalents in your system to give communication back to the customers instantly. I meant software because that is supposedly one of the largest of human thing that has been created so far in the AI world. You have computer vision technologies that is able to understand, as you talk to the customer, it is able to pick up the data and the pixels and send it back so that the system can decipher itself and understand and see that, okay, what is the situation, where things are, etc. And you have machine learning technologies, okay, and then you have natural language processing. You don't expect a customer who is in Bind or Bilwara to speak to you in English. So the natural language, you don't expect a customer in Kerala to speak to you in English. He may rather want to talk to the bank in Malayalam. So natural language processing, your machine learning technologies, your artificial intelligence technologies, your computer vision technologies, your CRM technologies, as well as your social media technologies, trying to put them together, and without which today you may work not sustainable banking proposition is my submission. Back to you.
Thanks a lot for your insights, SR. In fact, Stanford had conducted a research and found that 83% of their students suffer from nomophobia. So
Yes.
that's that higher number. So thanks for that. Moving on, Reena. Today we see the emergence of a dynamic collaborative form of leadership in order to gain momentum and accountability from teams. What does a leader need to avoid or keep in mind to fast track growth and reduce stress at the same time?
Yeah, thank you, Shoma. And I would like to say that, um, building on what you said, SR, that gone are the days when leaders could get away with power over tactics that expected submission and adherence to direction, like do it because I say so approach. That actually brings disastrous results through attrition, irresponsibility via the blame game, and of course, demotivated workforce. A smart leader is deeply committed to the ethos of banking as a service industry. We want to, as bankers, bring equal opportunities to the ever aspiring population of a growing economy. Yeah. In India is leading the way in many ways by really showing how a huge chaotic collective can surge forward. It's unfathomable, and yet people are really seeing results. At the same time, it can be easier. The struggle that gets put in because of our hierarchical ways. Yeah, externally things have changed. There are flatter structures and all that, but hierarchy, patriarchy still lives in our midst, whether any gender. I don't mean, when I say patriarchy, men are as much kind of stuck in that as other genders. So what I would really want to say is that, what should we keep in mind first, as an inspiration, as a wisdom, as a street wisdom too. I want you all to kind of have a 5 minutes of experiential engagement into my presentation. Now, in a panel discussion, why am I presenting slides? I'm presenting slides because I would like, one, to support your deeper engagement into your world, your experience of whatever I'm going to discuss and bring to you as an exploration. And secondly, because nonviolent communication is a tool, it's a skill, it's a process, and it's a consciousness. I would like that you have some taste of it, some idea about it. Okay, so I bring to you, I request Manoj to please share. There are 5, 7 slides, but I'll just walk you through those. So Manoj, could you please share the screen? Thank you, Manoj. The first quote, as he shares, is taken from Viktor Frankl's insight. He was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, philosopher, and also Holocaust survivor. Could you make the screen in slide mode if possible? So between stimulus and response, there is a space. in that space is our power to choose our response. Each one of us has access to this space wherever we are. And I want to reiterate that each one of us is a leader as well. So, what is this space? And in this space between stimulus is a trigger. Something happens and our thoughts, our mind picks it up and we react. Sorry, could you? Yeah, we react. That is the stimulus. And that is a habitual reaction. Okay, it's like we get into fixing, analyzing, and all those modes which we are habituated to, and it comes from fear, from flight, freeze, and that kind of fear kind of response. So the creative side, the heart side, is not available to us. Yeah, and then what happens that what we say or do next leads to either war or peace. I know it's a very dramatic thing to say war or peace, but actually it's also conflict or collaboration, mm, or opening or shutting down. Yeah. So in that response lies our growth and freedom. What do we mean by that? We will get to in the next response. But let's go to what should we avoid. So we should keep in mind this, that there is a space between stimulus and response, and each one of us has a choice. And in that choice is the power to bring that change that we are looking for. Next one, please, Manoj. Um, what we should avoid are these 4Ds of life alienating behavior. Because we are talking about communication, it's important, it's about behavior. Yeah. So alienating behavior which separates us, and life enriching behavior are the two kind of ends of the stick. So the 4Ds of disconnection are diagnose. What we diagnose, oftentimes we judge, label, criticize, because we have been taught to do this critical analysis. There is a space for that, in research, in various policy making and all that, but not in communication. When we say the problem with you, when we use you, we are diagnosing, judging, labeling, criticizing someone. And that really disconnects. Another thing that we do is we deny responsibility for our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. So if I feel kind of stressed, then I can say you made me feel stressed. The team is not working and that's why I'm stressed. Yeah, the media is making me stressed. So we do that. And then so we deny responsibility for our own action that comes out of that thinking. And then there's demand with our own team, with our, even sometimes, it trickles down, and I've
Okay,
Thank you,
all the best to
Sir.
everyone. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so